Danny's going to discuss open spatial data. And he's going to share how they are now making their vast volume of data and imagery available through the GNB Open Data Portal and GONB. So please welcome our last lightning speaker, Danny Crain.
All right, thank you. What I want to do today is take you on a little bit of a journey, about a 40-year journey, about spatial data at DNR, how we're sharing that out now with a lot of our clients and public, and anyone really that has an interest in our data. And because I've been told that I assume that people understand too much, I'm going to give you two quick definitions before we start, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. Spatial data is anything that you can assign a location on the Earth about, and it can be anything from a line, point, polygon, raster. And GIS is a piece of software that we use to manage, manipulate, and present that data in one format or another. So just a little bit of a background on how we got to where we are. DNR purchased its first GIS license in 1982, spent the next 5 years collecting aerial imagery, interpreting, and then transferring that via digitization into a set of layers that can be used by our piece of software. All that was done initially in support of our forest industry to help us to manage our forest resources. As time passed, we kept adding other features to that, everything from habitat, fish and wildlife, leases and licenses, geology, geophysics, mines, so a very wide range of information that was developed. In order to maintain that, the department decided that we were going to fly the province on a 10-year cycle. So starting in about 93, we started flying the province again every 10 years. The first of that was done with aerial imagery, like a hard copy. And then our last two iterations were done as digital. And we've started into a fourth, which is a lot more data rich and a lot bigger data set. We also participated with SMB in creating and capturing a LiDAR data set for the entire province. And part of what we're doing now in our new iteration of imagery is to collect another set of LiDAR. All of that is to say that we as a department are data rich. We have a lot of data sets, we have a lot of imagery, and we wanted to be able to share that out because we got initially our partners and our clients who were asking for our data, but then it turned into educational institutions, other environmental firms, public. So we wanted to find a way of sharing that data out. In the early 90s, we did that as a fee-for-service kind of a setup. So people would send us requests for data, we would prepare it, and then we'd send it out in one format or another, either CD-ROM, FTP, email, whatever fit. We then participated with SMB in the creation of the GONB website, and we spent a lot of years putting data on there, which saved us a lot of time for some of those layers of not having to prepare and send those out separately. In June of 2017, Esri came out with what they call the ArcGIS Hub, and it allowed us to put data in a much more current format onto places where people could actually access that. In order to do that, we took a look at that and we thought it was a good idea. So in order to do that, what we did is we started meeting with our data owners, getting them to answer a number of questions about their data to find out which ones could or couldn't be put out. Was the data private or sensitive? Was the data relevant? Like, is it something that people were actually asking for? Was it a finalized data set? The size of the data, which determined how easy it was to serve that data up to outside people. And we were also at the same time creating web applications. So we wanted to be able to provide those web applications because in some cases those added understanding or knowledge, and in other cases that was the only way that some people were going to be able to access GIS information. So the GIS portal allows us to put out information in a number of different formats. And one of the things we tried to do is to make sure that we were providing formats that followed some of the formats that were in OpenGIS. So we have things like web feature services, web map services, shape files, as well as Esri map services. And we can also add our web applications to those sites, as well as a description of where that data was. The thing about the Open Data portal that we've created is that I can organize my data in a way that people can understand a little bit better where the data is and find the data that they're looking for. And it gives us a lot of flexibility to add more information to it. 2 minutes? All right. So how much data do we actually have right now? Like I say, we've been at this for 40 years. We look after two departments now, DNR and Agriculture, and Fisheries. Between the two departments, we have about 1,000 features in our data sets. We have 104, 105 of them right now on our OpenGIS site. We also have 20 terabytes of imagery data and another 40 terabytes coming next year, which is going to be imagery and LiDAR. The big data, we have to figure out some way of actually serving that up because we can't do it through the portal. So we're looking at maybe chunking it up into pieces and having a web interface that people can go in and select different portions of the province and drag data down that way. So there's still some work to be done. But I guess, what is the goal? Our goal is to try and make sure that any data that's current and relevant that people actually want to have access to is available for them to access. And it sort of takes out the human side of things where they don't actually have to come to us. They can access it any time and from any place. I put a couple of locations up there. One of them, if you go to the GMB website and just search up Department of Natural Resources, right on our front page is the OpenGIS portal link, and so you can get to it that way. And eventually what we're going to do is all of that data that we have on there is going to be available through the GMB Open Data portal. And with that, thank you.